This is the Release and Realization podcast, where we explore emotional freedom and practical manifestation based on the teachings of Lester Levenson and Neville Goddard to help you unlock your inner power and create the life you want. Welcome. In today's episode, David and Anna talk about what Lester Levenson's teachings are really about.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
It's good to be here.
So today we're opening up a topic that I think really sits at the very center of the human experience, even if we don't always have the language for it.
Right. It's that background noise, isn't it?
It is. It's that pervasive background sense of being stuck. You know what I'm talking about?
I think everyone knows it. It's the universal hum.
Yeah.
The static in the background of almost every moment.
Exactly. It's waking up and feeling already a little bit behind schedule.
Or that tightness in your chest when you think about a certain project or a certain person.
Yes, or the looping thoughts that just will not shut up at 3 a.m. It really feels like walking around with a giant backpack full of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't remember packing the rocks, but you also have no idea how to take the backpack off.
That is a perfect analogy, the backpack. Because we feel the weight.
Right.
We complain about the weight, and we spend our entire lives trying to rearrange the rocks to make them more comfortable.
We're constantly optimizing our suffering.
That's it. We trade a sharp rock for a smooth one. We shift the weight from the left shoulder to the right shoulder.
Right.
But we very rarely stop to ask the really fundamental questions.
Which are?
Why am I carrying this bag in the first place? And more importantly, is it possible to just set it down?
And that's the kicker. Because usually when we try to solve this, when you hit the self-help aisle or you watch the motivational videos.
Or listen to podcasts like this one.
Exactly. The solution is almost always additive. It's do more.
Right. Add this.
You need a stricter morning routine. You need to meditate for an hour. You need to learn a new cognitive strategy. You're always told to add layers to yourself, to fix yourself.
We treat the self like a construction project. We're always adding new wings to the building, thinking the next addition will finally make it feel complete.
Right. But the material we're diving into today, which centers on the work of a man named Lester Levenson and the framework that eventually became the Sedona Method, it flips that script entirely. It is not about addition. It is about subtraction. It's about demolition.
It is. And that can be a little destabilizing for people at first. I think we have to acknowledge that.
Why do you think that is?
Because we're so conditioned to think that value comes from effort, from struggle, from acquisition. We think happiness is something we have to go out and hunt down or, build from scratch using raw materials.
Right.
Levenson's framework starts with a premise that is so radical in its simplicity.
And what's that?
You don't need to acquire happiness. You don't need to learn how to be free. You already are those things right now.
Which sounds lovely. It really does. It sounds like something you'd see on a needlepoint pillow.
It does.
But I have to play the skeptic here immediately because I think anyone listening is thinking the same thing I am.
Go for it.
If I am already free, and if I am naturally happy, why was I stressed out about traffic this morning? Why am I worried about my emails? Why does my stomach hurt when I look at my bank account? It feels a little bit like telling a starting person, you're actually full, you just don't realize it.
That is exactly the right question to ask. If our natural state is peace, why is it so rare? Why is peace the exception rather than the rule?
Okay.
Levenson's answer lies in the distinction between your nature and your state.
Okay, let's unpack that. Nature versus state, what's the difference?
Think of it this way. Imagine the sun. It is the nature of the sun to shine.
Right. It just does.
It just does. It doesn't have to try to shine.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a strategy. It doesn't need to go to a shining seminar.
A giant ball of fusion.
Exactly. It emits light and heat constantly. That is its nature. But if you were standing on the ground and there is a massive 10-mile thick layer of storm clouds covering the sky, you don't see the sun.
No. It looks dark. It feels cold.
Right. From your perspective on the ground, the sun is gone.
It effectively is.
Now, if you are down there on the ground and you believe that darkness is the fundamental reality, your instinct is to fix the darkness.
Sure. I'd buy a lamp.
You might try to build a machine to generate artificial light.
Yeah.
You might try to fan the air to warm it up. You are exerting all this effort to create what is already there, just blocked.
So you're saying we're trying to build little flashlights when the sun is right there.
We are. Levenson is saying, you don't need to build a sun. You just need to figure out how to disperse the clouds.
And the clouds, in this analogy are what exactly?
They are your suppressed emotions, your limiting beliefs, and your subconscious programming.
So, all the junk.
It's the accumulated weight of all the feelings we have pushed down or ignored or, and this is key, clung to over a lifetime.
So the mission of this deep dive is essentially meteorology.
I like that.
We are learning how to disperse clouds so the sun, which is our natural happiness, can just do its thing.
Exactly. We're looking for the mechanism of imperturbability.
Imperturbability, that is a heavy word. I feel like I need a monocle just to say it. It's a bit of a mouthful.
It sounds stoic, almost robotic, like I am a rock, I feel nothing.
It can sound that way, but it's actually the opposite of robotic.
Wow.
A robot feels nothing because it has no capacity for feeling.
Okay.
Imperturbability, in this context, means you are so internally stable, so connected to that sun behind the clouds, that the storms of the world can't knock you over.
So it's not that you don't feel.
No, not at all. It's that the feelings don't own you. They don't hijack the system. You aren't perturbed. You aren't shaken.
I want that. I think everyone listening wants that. We want to be the person who can handle the crisis without falling apart. So let's get into the mechanics. If the clouds are the problem, we need to know what they're made of. The source material identifies a villain in this story,
Right.
and it's not what we usually think it is.
Right. This is where the whole paradigm shifts. Usually we think the villain is the external world.
Of course.
I am stressed because my boss is demanding. I am angry because the driver cut me off. I am sad because the economy is bad. We externalize the cause of our suffering. We point the finger outward.
Because that's how it feels. It feels like the cause is outside.
Right.
If the guy hadn't cut me off, I wouldn't be angry. Therefore, he caused the anger.
It feels that way, yes.
Yeah.
But Levenson argues that is a profound illusion. He suggests the villain is actually our attachment to and our resistance toward our own feelings about those events.
Okay, can we break that down? Let's stick with the traffic example because it's so universal.
Sure.
Guy cuts me off. I slam on the brakes. My heart rate spikes. I'm screaming inside my head. You're saying the suffering isn't coming from the other car.
Correct. The car is just metal and rubber moving through space. The event itself is neutral. It's just physics. Cars occupy spaces.
Okay.
The suffering comes from your internal reaction. It comes from the thought, he shouldn't have done that, or I'm being disrespected, or now I'm going to be late.
It's the story I tell about the event.
It is the friction between reality, which is that the car cut you off, and your demand of that reality be different.
That friction,
Yeah.
that's the resistance. This shouldn't be happening.
Yes, that internal scream, that contraction in your gut, that is the cloud. And here's where we get to the core definition of letting go.
Right.
Most people misunderstand this completely. They think letting go means I don't care. Or they think it means I'm going to shove this feeling down and pretend I'm a spiritual person who doesn't get angry.
The serenity now approach.
Exactly.
Just smile while your eye twitches uncontrollably.
Yes, suppression. We have to be crystal clear. Suppression is the opposite of letting go.
Oh, so?
Suppression is holding on, just in a different way. If you're pushing a beach ball underwater, are you letting it go?
No, I'm using a ton of energy to keep it down. If I let go, it pops right back up.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It takes active, continuous energy to suppress emotion. That is why so many of us are so tired. We are walking around holding down 1,000 beach balls.
That makes a lot of sense.
Then there is the other extreme. Expression, venting, screaming, throwing things.
Which can feel really good in the moment. You know, blowing off steam. I yell at the traffic, and for a second I feel a little better.
It can relieve pressure temporarily, sure, but often expression just recycles the emotion.
What do you mean by that?
You get angry, you yell, and you actually feed the anger. You validate the story that made you angry in the first place. You're reinforcing the neural pathways of rage.
So I'm just practicing being angry.
You are telling your system, yes, this is a real threat, keep firing the alarms. So if it's not suppression and it's not expression, what is it?
That's the magic question, isn't it? If I can't push it down and I shouldn't just explode, what is the third option?
It is the dissolution of the resistance itself.
Okay.
It's opening the valve. It's simply ceasing to hold on.
Ceasing to hold on.
Think of your hand squeezing a tennis ball. Squeezing requires effort, right? The tension travels up your arm. Letting go isn't a new action. It is the cessation of the action of squeezing.
So I'm not doing something new, I'm stopping doing something.
You're just stopping. When you stop squeezing, the ball just falls.
The cessation of the action of squeezing. That implies that we are doing the squeezing unconsciously. We don't realize we are the ones holding the ball.
Bingo. That is the first major insight. We think the feeling is holding us. We say, I am gripped by fear. But Levenson says, no, you are gripping the fear.
We're the ones doing it?
You are holding on to it because on some deep subconscious level, you think you need it.
Okay, so to stop squeezing, we need to know we're squeezing. This moves us into the actual mechanism of the methodology. The material makes a huge distinction here that I think is critical for anyone who considers themselves, analytical or smart.
Yes.
It distinguishes between feelings and thoughts. Why is this hierarchy so important?
This is the trap for the intellectuals. It's the trap I fell into for years. We try to solve emotional problems with intellectual tools. We try to figure out why we are sad. We analyze our anxiety. We treat our emotions like a math problem that can be solved with enough logic.
I do this constantly. If I'm in a bad mood, I become a detective. Why do I feel this? Is it because of that email I got? Is it because my dad said that thing 10 years ago? Is it because I didn't eat enough protein this morning?
You try to logic your way out of the hole.
Yes, all the time.
And be honest, how often does that actually resolve the feeling?
Almost never. It usually just makes the hole more complicated. I just end up with a very well-researched, footnoted reason for being miserable.
That's because, according to this framework, thoughts are just the exhaust fumes of the feeling. The feeling is the engine.
The feeling is the engine.
If you have a suppressed feeling of fear in your gut, your brain, which is just a meaning-making machine, will generate thousands of thoughts that match that frequency.
So the thoughts are symptoms, not the cause.
They are. The brain will spit out, I'm not prepared, they're going to laugh at me, I'm going to fail, what if I lose my job? All of it is just a reflection of the core feeling.
So the feeling sets the channel on the radio, and the thoughts are just the songs playing on that channel.
Exactly. If you try to argue with the thoughts, if you try to debate, I'm not going to fail with, yes, I am, you are fighting a hydra. You cut off one head and 3 more grow back.
Because the engine is still running.
The fear is still running. The Sedona Method says, ignore the thoughts. Don't even engage. Go to the engine. Go to the feeling.
You cannot think your way out of a feeling. You have to feel your way out of it.
You have to feel your way out. This leads us to the first practical step. Awareness. Self-observation.
Yes.
Before you can let go of anything, you have to look at what's there.
You have to see the rock before you can drop it.
Yes. And you have to move your attention from your head down into your body. This is a crucial shift for most people.
From thinking to feeling.
Exactly. You have to locate the sensation. Where is the tightness? Is it in the chest, the stomach, the throat? You have to catch yourself in the act of holding on.
And this is trickier than it sounds, isn't it? Because the holding on wears disguises. We don't walk around consciously saying, I am now choosing to hold on to anger.
No, it wears very clever disguises. I'd say the most common one is righteousness.
Oh, that's a good one.
When we are angry, we don't feel like we are holding on to a hot coal. We feel like we're holding on to the sword of truth.
Yeah.
We feel justified.
Right. I am right to be angry because they were wrong.
And that feeling of justification is the superglue that keeps the anger stuck to your hand.
So we have to spot the feeling itself, and then we have to spot the fact that we are the ones keeping it there. We have to spot the payoff we think we're getting from it.
Right. And it's not just the bad feelings, so to speak. We also hold on to good feelings, or what we think are good feelings, like intense desire. We clutch at things we want.
We're definitely going to circle back to desire, because that is a whole paradox on its own.
It is.
But let's say I've done step 1. I'm aware, I'm sitting in my chair, I'm stressed about a deadline, and I realize, okay, my chest is tight. I am feeling fear, and I am spinning stories about getting fired. I've moved from the head to the body now. What do I actually do?
Yeah.
The source material outlines 3 ways of releasing. Let's walk through these tools.
Yes. These are the 3 different levers you can pull to drop the rock from the backpack.
Lever number 1.
The first one is the most direct, but for some people, it's the hardest to believe in at first. It is the path of choice.
Choice. Just choosing to let go.
It is simply deciding to drop it.
It sounds too easy. If I could just decide to not be depressed, I would have done it years ago. It feels almost dismissive to tell someone, just choose to be happy.
It can feel that way, and I understand that skepticism, but think about the pen analogy again.
Okay.
If you are holding a pen, and I say drop the pen, you don't have to go to therapy to learn how to drop the pen.
Oh.
You don't have to understand the molecular structure of the plastic.
It's unclench.
You just unclench. You make a choice to cease the holding. Levenson argues that emotions are exactly the same. We only hold them because, consciously or subconsciously, we believe they are serving us in some way.
We think the worry is keeping us safe by making us prepare. We think the anger is keeping us strong by protecting our boundaries.
Exactly. So the method of choice is looking at that belief and saying, actually, this heaviness isn't helping me. It's hurting me. I choose to drop it. Sometimes just realizing you have the choice is enough to flip the switch.
The realization itself is the release.
It's realizing, oh, wait, I don't have to hold this. That can be a profound moment.
Okay, so that's the drop the pen method. But what if the pen feels like it's glued to my hand? What if I try to choose and the feeling is just, it's still there, big as ever?
Then we move to the second way, which is my personal favorite because it is so wonderfully counterintuitive. It's called allowance or welcoming.
Welcoming the pain, rolling out the red carpet for the very thing I hate.
Yes. Giving the feeling full 100% permission to be there, no reservations.
Wait a minute. I thought the whole point of this deep dive was to get rid of the feeling.
It is. But you have to understand the mechanics of resistance. What keeps a feeling stuck?
A resistance.
It's the resistance. It's the internal commentary. I hate this anxiety. I wish I wasn't sad. I need this to stop. That pushing against the feeling is what holds it in place.
So it's like a Chinese finger trap. The more you pull away, the tighter it gets.
It's exactly like that. It's like trying to hold a door shut against a strong wind. The more you push, the more tension you create in your own body.
So allowance is stepping back and just opening the door.
It's saying to the anxiety, okay, you're here. Come in, sit down. You have my full permission to exist for as long as you need to. You stop the war. You drop the shield.
And what happens then?
And the paradox, the thing that blows people's minds when they finally try it, is that when you stop fighting the feeling, when you truly, genuinely allow it to be there, it runs out of fuel.
It has nothing to push against.
Nothing. It passes through. It flows.
It flows.
Emotions are just energy in motion. Emotion. They want to move. The only reason they stick around and become these solidified moods or complexes is because we dam them up with our resistance.
So when you remove the dam, the water flows away.
It just flows away.
That is a huge mental shift. Instead of, I need to fix this, it's, I allow this. It sounds almost like hospitality.
It is hospitality for your own internal state.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly powerful. And then there's the third way.
Okay.
Deep immersion.
This sounds intense, like diving into the deep end of the pool.
It is the eye of the storm approach. Instead of running away from the feeling or even just welcoming it at the door, you dive right into the center of it.
So if I'm feeling a knot of fear in my stomach, I focus intently on the knot itself.
You go into the very core of the physical sensation. You ignore the label fear. You ignore the story, I'm scared of the presentation. You just look at the raw energy.
What does that mean, look at the raw energy?
What does that mean, look at the raw energy? You get curious. What is it? Is it vibrating? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it pulsing? Is it solid? When you look at a feeling with that level of intense, non-judgmental curiosity, a strange thing happens. You find out it's empty.
Empty? How can it be empty? It feels so solid.
It's like a monster in a movie. It looks
Yeah.
absolutely terrifying on the screen. But if you were to walk right up to the movie screen and put your nose against it, what would you see?
Just pixels of light.
Pixels of light. It has no actual substance. When you dive into the core of an emotion, when you get that close to it, it often just dissolves into pure energy and then vanishes.
That reminds me of that old saying, the only way out is through.
This is the literal application of that. We spend so much energy skirting the edges of our pain, trying to outrun it. If we just had the courage to dive into the center, we'd fall right through it and land on peace.
Okay, so we have choice, which is drop the pen. We have allowance, open the door, and immersion, dive into the center.
Right.
But the Sedona Method is famous for something very specific, a script, a set of questions. I want to walk through this because this is the practical toolkit the listener can use in the car or in the shower or in a meeting. It gives you something to actually say to yourself when you're spinning out.
Yes. And these questions are designed to facilitate that dropping mechanism we talked about. They act like a gentle crowbar to pry open your grip on the feeling.
So let's role play this. I'll be the stressed out host. I'm worrying about, let's say, a big public speaking engagement. I have a speech coming up. My stomach is in knots. Walk me through the question.
Okay, so first step, forget the speech for a second, forget the audience, just bring your full attention to the knot in your stomach. Can you feel it?
I feel it. It's tight, it's heavy, it's unpleasant.
Okay, just welcome it. Let it be there for a moment. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and remember, you don't have to say yes, there's no right answer. Just answer honestly. Could I let this feeling go?
Honestly. In this moment. Probably not. It feels really stuck. So my answer is no.
That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
No is a totally valid answer.
Yeah.
The question is just asking about possibility, about capability, not forcing it.
Okay.
Now, the next question. Could I allow this feeling to be here?
Well, it's already here, whether I like it or not, so I guess I could stop fighting it for a second. Yes, I could allow it.
Good. And just notice what that yes feels like. Sometimes a tiny bit of space opens up right there. Now, the third question. Would I let it go? This isn't asking if you can. It's asking about willingness. If you had a magic button, would you press it?
Oh, yeah. 100% yes. I don't want to feel this.
And finally, when?
You mean now would be good.
And that's the loop. Now, usually after one round, the feeling hasn't vanished completely. But has it shifted at all? Is it any different?
Maybe a little. It feels a little less solid, a little less intense.
Great. So you do it again. You ask about this remaining feeling. Could I let this remaining bit go? Would I? When? You just loop through these questions.
So you're peeling an onion.
You're peeling the layers off the onion. You are dissolving the glue bit by bit. Eventually, you ask, when? And the answer isn't just a word. It's an action. You just let go. The pen drops.
I want to highlight something really important you said there. When I answered no to the first question, could I let it go? You didn't say I failed. You didn't tell me to try harder.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That is the most common mistake people make. They turn these questions into a test they have to pass.
Right. They think they have to say yes.
And if you force a yes when you really mean no, you are just suppressing again. You're lying to yourself. You're putting on a brave face.
And we know that doesn't work.
The power is in the honesty. Even answering no is a form of release because you are acknowledging the reality of your resistance.
I am holding on to this, and right now I don't feel capable of dropping it.
Yeah.
That is an honest assessment of reality.
And once you admit that, you can then get curious about it. You can ask, okay, could I let go of the feeling of not being able to let go?
Oh.
You can release on the resistance itself. Why do I want to hold on to this pain? And often the answer is because I think it's keeping me safe. And then you can release that belief.
It's layers all the way down.
Yes.
It's turtles all the way down, but in this case, it's layers of subconscious resistance.
Yes, exactly.
This brings us to the biggest obstacle of all. Section 4 of our deep dive is all about resistance. We've touched on it, but I really want to go deeper, because logically, it makes no sense. Why would any human being resist feeling good?
It seems insane, doesn't it?
If I handed you $1 million, you wouldn't resist taking it. But if I offer you inner peace, your whole system fights it tooth and nail. Why?
It really comes down to two things: identity and safety.
Okay.
To the subconscious mind, the known hell is always safer than the unknown heaven.
I've heard that before.
We are creatures of habit, even if those habits are incredibly painful. There's a strange comfort in the familiar misery. But the deeper trap, the much stickier one, is identity.
The identity trap.
Yes. We don't just have feelings. We come to believe we are our feelings. Think about how we speak. We say, I am angry. I am sad.
We use the verb to be.
We are claiming the emotion as our definition, as our identity.
Instead of saying, I am experiencing a wave of anger, or there is a sensation of sadness in this body.
Right. And if I say I am an angry person, then to let go of the anger feels like letting go of me. It feels like a death, the eotanic.
It's an existential threat.
It is. The mind thinks, if I'm not the angry guy who fights for justice, who am I? If I'm not the grieving widow, am I betraying my husband's memory? We weave the pain into the fabric of our sense of self.
That grief one is heavy. I think a lot of people feel that. If I let go of the pain of this loss, it means I didn't love them enough. The pain becomes the evidence of the love.
That is a very common and very sticky point. But the source material reminds us of a fundamental truth. You are not the feeling.
You are not the feeling.
You are the witness of the feeling. You are the sky. The feeling is just a cloud passing through. The screen, the movie is playing on you, but you are not the movie.
So the screen doesn't get wet when there's a storm in the movie. It doesn't get burned when there's a fire.
Exactly. This is the concept of the witness or the observer. When you can cultivate that perspective, when you realize, wait, I am the one looking at the sadness, you create distance.
You break the identification.
And that distance is what allows you to open your hand. You realize you can let the cloud pass and the sky, remain untouched, clear, and peaceful.
It changes the posture from I am dying to I am watching a painful energy move through my system.
Exactly. And that shift in posture is what allows you to move from struggle to permission. And remember the law we discussed earlier.
What you resist persists.
It's a law of physics in the mind. If you push something, It pushes back with equal force. If you simply drops the rope, the tug-of-war ends instantly.
Drop the rope. I love that. It's so simple. So let's look at the destination. If we practice this, if we drop the rope, if we peel the onion, if we dissolve the clouds, what is left? The outline uses this term again, imperturbability. We touched on it in the intro, but let's define it properly now.
Imperturbability is the state where your inner peace is no longer dependent on external circumstances. It's a kind of inner intimacy.
Inner intimacy.
It means you are so at home in your own presence that the chaos of the world can't shake you.
So the stock market can crash, your car can break down, someone can yell at you online, and you don't spiral into despair.
You might notice a reaction, a little jolt. You might feel a pang of, uh-oh. But it doesn't hijack you. It doesn't become you.
You don't become the cloud.
You don't. You spot it, you welcome it, you let it go, and you return to clarity almost immediately. It is resilience in its ultimate form.
And this leads to a very practical application regarding goals, the idea of releasing desire. This is the paradox I mentioned earlier. In our culture, especially in business, in sports, in any field of achievement, we're taught that you have to be hungry. You have to want it so bad it hurts. You have to be obsessed.
The eye of the tiger mentality. Constant striving.
Right. But Levenson says, stop wanting it. That sounds like divvying up. It sounds like becoming passive.
He says, release the desire. Now, we have to be very careful with the language here because this is easily misunderstood.
Okay.
He doesn't mean give up the goal. He distinguishes between the goal itself, which is your intention, and the desire, which is the feeling of lack.
Break that down, the goal versus the desire.
Okay. The very word desire implies you don't have it. When you say, I want this promotion, you are energetically broadcasting, I lack this promotion.
I need this to be okay.
I need this to be whole.
Yeah.
That energy is heavy. It's constricted. It's desperate. It's fearful. What if I don't get it?
It's a tight, grasping state.
Exactly. And when you operate from that tight, desperate state, you are actually repelling the very thing you want. You make bad decisions. You come across as needy in the job interview. You choke under pressure in the big game.
So releasing desire is releasing the desperation for the goal, not the goal itself?
Yes. You release the feeling of, I need this. You release the attachment to the outcome. You replace it with a feeling of, I intend this, or even better, I allow this to come to me.
You move from a state of wanting to a state of having in your mind first.
You operate with confidence and ease, not from a place of lack.
It's the difference between the guy at the bar who is desperately trying to get a date and is striking out with everyone because he reeks of desperation, versus the guy who is just there having a good time, comfortable in his own skin, and naturally attracts people to him.
Perfect example. The second guy has released the need. He is imperturbable. If he gets a date, great. If not, great. His happiness isn't on the line. And paradoxically, that makes him much more likely to get the date.
So Levenson is saying, you can have the goal, just drop the neurotic, painful attachment to the result.
Exactly. And when you do that, it frees up all that energy you're wasting on worry and anxiety and repurposes it for actual effective action.
You become more effective because you aren't fighting yourself anymore.
You are braking and accelerating at the same time.
That's a powerful image. So let's go to the very bottom. Underneath the desire, underneath the fear, underneath the anger. If we clear it all away, what is at the very, very bottom?
Pure presence, or what some might call beingness, is that simple, quiet sense of, I am.
I am.
Before you are a podcaster, before you are a parent, before you are a citizen of a country, you just are. There's a basic sense of existence that is always there in the background, underneath all the noise. Levenson's discovery was that this background presence isn't neutral. It is actually, by its very nature, joyful, loving, and peaceful.
It's the sun. We're back to the sun.
It's the sun. We don't have to create joy. We just have to stop being so fascinated by the clouds and realize we are the sky. When the noise stops, the silence that remains is peace.
That is a beautiful concept. But I want to bring us back down to the pavement for the final section, implementation.
The practical part.
Right, because I can listen to this, and I can nod my head, and I can think, yes, I am the sky. And then I go home, and my kids are screaming, and there's dog food on the floor, and I completely lose it.
And that is reality. That's why the source material emphasizes again and again that this is not a philosophy to be studied in a book. It is a practice to be lived. It has to become a reflex.
A reflex, like catching a ball without thinking.
Yes. You don't save this technique for the big 5-alarm fire breakdowns. You practice on the small stuff.
Yeah.
all day long.
Then you drop your coffee.
That's a perfect opportunity. Could I let this little jolt of frustration go? You're stuck in a boring meeting. Could I allow this boredom to be here just for a moment?
You're building the muscle with light weights so you can lift the heavy ones when a real crisis hits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to remember the onion analogy.
The layers. Yeah.
You might release on a specific issue. Say you're angry at your neighbor, you do the questions, you feel better, you feel peace. Great. Then 3 days later, you see him take your parking spot and you're angry all over again.
And your first thought is, it didn't work. This whole method is broken.
Right. You think you failed. But you didn't. You just peeled the first layer of that particular onion. Now, a deeper layer has surfaced to be healed.
So the subconscious is vast. It has stored a lifetime of these programs.
It has. Releasing is a process of attrition. You are patiently chipping away at a mountain of old conditioning.
So it requires persistence. And it requires not beating yourself up because you aren't, fully enlightened by Tuesday.
It requires a gentle commitment to your own freedom. And you have to want to be free more than you want to be right. That is the ultimate trade-off.
Do you want to be right or do you want to be free?
Wow. That hits hard because I really, really like being right. We all do. The ego loves it. But the promise of this method is that it creates a positive chain reaction.
How so?
When you dissolve the attachment, you dissolve the resistance. When the resistance goes, the reactivity goes. When the reactivity goes, you have access to your actual intelligence and creativity. You make better choices. Your relationships improve. Your health improves because you aren't marinating your cells in cortisol all day.
It's a holistic impact.
It addresses the limitations at the root so the whole tree gets healthier.
It's taking off the backpack. Once it's off, you can walk further, faster, and with a lot less effort.
And you can actually enjoy the view for the first time.
So for the listener who wants to try this today, right now, we've given them the questions. Could I? Would I? When? But is there a specific thought experiment or a challenge we can leave them with to get started?
I would say this. The next time you feel a strong negative emotion, and it will happen probably within the hour, don't do what you normally do. Don't fix it. Don't explain why you feel it. Don't blame the person who caused it.
Let's pause.
Just pause. Close your eyes for 10 seconds if you can. And ask yourself this one question. What would happen if, for just this moment, I gave this feeling full permission to be here?
What would happen? Not as a demand, but as a curiosity.
Treat it like a science experiment. You're just a neutral observer. Open the door, invite the monster in for tea, and just watch. Does it get bigger and eat you, or does it start to dissolve when it's met with acceptance?
Test the cloud, poke it, and see if it's actually solid.
Exactly. Find out for yourself.
I love that. It's an invitation to courage, the courage to feel so that you can eventually be free of the constant need to manage and control those feelings.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
This has been fittingly a very deep dive. There's so much here to unpack, but ultimately it really does seem to come down to that simple choice, to hold on or to let go. Thanks for guiding us through it.
My pleasure. It was a great conversation.
And to you listening, good luck with your clouds. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, please consider subscribing to the channel. For more in-depth and advanced content, you're welcome to join us on Patreon. We'll be back next week with the continuation of this topic.